the thing that everybody's talking about right now, and I've been started up on Twitter, I crank it up, stir the pot a bit, is the Alec Baldwin shooting on a set in New Mexico. The actor Alec Baldwin shoots and kills the cinematographer, a young woman, Helena Hutchins, and wounded director Joel Souza. What happened? How did it happen? What can we learn from it? What's your take on it? Boy, this is like a Rorschach test for a lot of people. It reveals more about them than it does about the incident when you see some people's responses. What do I mean by that? Well, unfortunately, what I'm seeing is that there are some people, not everybody, but some people in the gun culture who just are delighted at the hypocrisy of this. And yes, Alec Baldwin is an unlikable person. I get that. He's a hypocrite. He has hammered gun owners and gun rights and made fun of us. He has gone after Dana Lash repeatedly. He said awful things about guns and shooting and gun ownership and Second Amendment. All that being said, okay, I get all that. I do understand that background. I mean, I do have to say it. He's an inconsequential element for me because I don't pay attention to him. Haven't watched Saturday Night Live in decades, just don't care. He's like a nothing burger for me. But having said all that, look, let's not lose sight of something here. A young mother was killed. No one should be taking delight or glee in this, okay? There are several things I need to say about this. One is that we don't really know what happened. We think we know. We know what's being reported. But remember that what's being reported may not be true. Often is not, especially the closer you are to the episode, the less likely it is to be correct. And as we get time away from this, we will learn more and the reports will be more accurate. A lot of what we're hearing is partial truths and often just nonsense. So what happened here? Well, my first thought was, well, holy cow, somebody killed somebody with a blank gun again. It's looking like maybe that's not what happened. It's looking like, and remember, this is all subject to change because we don't really know yet. The reports are not in. It's looking like it was a live round and a live gun. And to those who say, well, this rests solidly on Alec Baldwin, rule number 1, 4 rules of gun safety, he pointed a gun at somebody, pulled the trigger, killed him. I got it. I understand it. You know, he was handed, reports are, he was handed this handgun, this revolver, by an assistant director who said it's a cold gun. It appears that the assistant director has a history of problems and issues with gun safety on sets. And clearly it was not a cold gun. It was not an unloaded gun. And so he didn't check it, and Alec Baldwin didn't check it. How many times have we talked about this, where if I see you check a gun and you show me it's unloaded, you hand it to me, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to open the gun up, and I'm going to look at it and see that it's unloaded. Not because I don't trust you, but because it's that important. Well, it's also because I don't trust you. Trust but verify, right? It's too important not to do that. And so a lot of people are having trouble with me trying to explain that I want to know how it happened as opposed to ascribing blame. They say, well, the blame rests on Alec Baldwin. Yes, but it's a yes, but. But I want to know the chain of events that happened to get it to that point. Where was the armorer on this? Hannah Reed was the armorer. For those who go way back, she is the daughter of Thel Reed, who was a contemporary of Colonel Jeff Cooper with the old leather slap competitions. And then Thel Reed became one of the top armorers in movies in California. So she grew up in this. Some reports say she wasn't even there when this happened. It also makes you want to know if the reports are true, that the AD, the assistant director, ran out and grabbed this gun off of a table. Maybe there were several guns there. Why were there guns sitting on a table outside, and why were they loaded? One of the more disturbing things I've heard, again, unsubstantiated at this point, is that Alec Baldwin was out actually doing target practice earlier in the day with live rounds on the set. If so, that's ridiculous. That's absurd. That's unconscionable. Where are the safety protocols? Look, I have produced and directed hundreds and hundreds of videos and television episodes involving firearms. And on our set, we use real guns shooting real bullets. We're not using fake guns. Now, when we do our first-person defender series, where we're using simunitions, we have some really tough protocols, some safety protocols. No live guns on the set. No live ammunition on the set. Anybody who walks through the border on it, we call it the sterile area, where we're using simunitions, is searched. Yes, patted down. Or we use a wand looking for metal, looking for guns, looking for ammo, looking for knives. Can't bring a knife onto the set. Why is that? Well, we learn from experience. We study accidents. It's like in aviation. We study accidents to find out what went wrong and how can we fix it. There have been several instances of law enforcement officers killed in simunition setups when somebody brought a live gun in. You start mixing live guns and prop guns or something like that, and if that doesn't make you stay up at night and give you the heebie-jeebies, I don't know what will. That's why you have a prop master or an armorer who is absolutely, totally in control, just like a tough range officer at a range who will call a halt to all shooting, who will kick you off the range for violations. Okay, what do we know? Let's get the terms right. It was not an accidental shooting. There was negligence involved. People say, well, it was an accident. Well, it was unintended, but I think it was negligence more than accidental. What else do we know? People say, well, he should be charged with murder. It wasn't murder. That's a legal term. All right? So, manslaughter possibly. What I haven't heard, here's an interesting question. I don't know if you've heard this anywhere. I haven't seen anything. Did anybody check his blood alcohol level? Baldwin's blood alcohol level? I would think that would be done, but you never know. When the police come out, did they do that? Or did they just take the statements and let him go? I mean, he's gone now from the set. He's back in East Coast somewhere. What's going to come of this? Who knows? You got to know the lawyers are circling on this deal. For us, those of us in the gun community, can I suggest that maybe we use this as an opportunity to spread the word about gun safety and talk to people about the 4 rules of gun safety and what you're supposed to do and how you handle guns, and you're responsible for everything that happens when you pull the trigger? And if you hand me a gun and tell me it's unloaded, I'm not going to believe that until I've looked at it, unloaded it, looked in the chamber, visually inspected it, and said, yes, this gun's unloaded. And even then, I'm not going to point it at somebody and pull the trigger. And yeah, I get it. It's movies and they have certain things to do. We can talk a little bit more about that as we go along. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk. All right, back with you here. Talk about the Alec Baldwin shooting that killed a cinematographer, a young woman, Helena Hutchins. 2 things. I'll talk about these in just a minute here. One is that we actually went to a school for actors and stuntmen to teach them about firearms and firearms use and involve live firing. It was truly frightening. I'll give you those details in just a minute. Also, if you want to know a little bit more about prop guns and the guns used in movies, we did a video on that about a year ago. If you go to YouTube and look under Gun Talk Media and do a search for replica guns, you'll see that. Also, I just linked to that on my Twitter feed. Over on Twitter, I am at Gun Talk. It's where you're going to get a lot of information, even more than you're going to be able to get here. Just sometimes it just won't all fit in.